Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome to this Let's Build of this Tyranid Carnifex. Now, here we are, we're just opening up the packet, and we'll see what's inside. And I've been looking forward to this one because I wanted a few Carnifex in my army, and I want to give them a good try and see how they get on in the battle, because they do look like nice, good, meaty items. Well, first thing to do is to cut out the parts we need, and for that I'm just going to use some clippers here. These are just some cheap ones I got off the internet. A lot better than using a knife to get the parts off, I think. You damage the parts a lot less, but we need the feet and the lower part of the body. Once I've got those bits sorted out, it's time to clean them up. Here I'm just cleaning up a couple of parts, but as you can see, I'm using my knife, which you can do, or you can use a file or clippers, depending on how big the parts are you need to clean up. But I'm cutting towards myself there, and that's something I don't recommend you do. Right, so time to start gluing. And I'm using a liquid poly here. It's very similar to the stuff that you get at Games Workshop. The only difference is here, this pot's about 3 times as big for the same price. We just have to pop that middle bit on the main stem there, and then we can pop our legs in. The Carnifex is one of the easier ones to do, I think. Lots of large pieces, they all fit in certain directions. So for example, this leg is keyed, so it has to go in a certain angle, as is this one here. As you can see, I just put them in and hold them together, and they're in the perfect stance. If you want to change the stance, you need to cut off the keys or round off the legs and maybe even pin it. Well, it's time to get the main part of the body together, and again, just using the clippers to remove the parts we need. On this particular part of the model, the ribcage is one of the parts that can be a little bit more tricky to clean up if necessary. The mould lines and so forth that you just need to clip off can be a little bit tricky along that front ridge. And then very often what I do is I hold pieces together without any glue to make sure that everything is lined up, to make sure I haven't missed any bits of plastic that have been sticking off or anything like that. Make sure it just fits quite nicely before applying the glue. And then I pop them on and hold them together again, knowing that we're going to get a good fit, we're not going to have any problems. Now, it's a good technique to use. So, continuing on with the top of the body, this back piece goes on the back here like this, and once I get it the right way round, there we go. And that is one of the more important parts, to make sure you get just right and make sure that there's no plastic hanging off. Otherwise these top parts just don't seem to line up right, and if they're not fitting together, you can use bulldog clips. I always recommend having a small set of bulldog clips handy. It just helps you hold things together. And after it's set a little bit better, you can take the bulldog clips off and continue building. Here you can see I'm just putting on the extra bit of shell, and I've noticed a bit of plastic that was sticking off, and I'm using a file on the head here just to smooth that little bit off. There we go. Well, with that bit smoothed off, it's time for a little bit of glue and to put the head together. It's quite easy to do on this one. It's just 2 pieces for the main part of the head. And after I put it together, I noticed a little bit of mould of the plastic that's not quite sitting right. So I just use my knife and I just shave that little tiny bit off. Right, let's put some bits together then. Now you can see I'm just levelling out the feet, because there was a bit of plastic that I left on the bottom of the foot, and then we're just going to put some of the liquid poly on there. And you can see here I'm scoring the bottom of the foot. Sometimes I do this, and what it does, it creates a better surface for the 2 areas of plastic to bind on. If you've got 2 pieces of very smooth plastic, sometimes they can struggle to bind together properly. Here we've got a rough base, and by scoring the bottom of the feet, that makes them rough as well, and that helps bind the 2 pieces together. Well, after the feet have started to set, time to put the top bit on. And this bit can be a little bit fiddly because you've got to get the pin on the lower part directly into the hole on the upper part, as I just did there. And again, with the head, it's just a ball socket, so you've got a certain amount that you can put in at different angles, but there's no pin on this particular part, so you just hold it in place for a while, and there we go. There's the main part of the body done. With the Tyranid Carnifex, those three main sections is most of the work done. You've got lots of different heads to choose from, as you can see on this piece here, but once you've decided exactly what you're going to do and which weapons you're going to put on, then you can put the weapons on now. So here we go, here come the arms. Now with my army, I'm not putting any projectile weapons on at all. The only projectile weapons we've got is a few little spines that shoot out and some psychic stuff. So none of the cannons or anything like that. So here today we're going with the scything talons. And of course in the old rules, having two sets of scything talons meant you could re-roll all failed hits. And having one set of scything talons meant you could re-roll once. Now in the new rules, that's not the case. But they do give you an extra attack if you've got two pairs. So you do get something for your money, and very often a lot of those models are cheaper. Well, a little bit of glue in the sockets, and then put the scything talons in there, and there's the model. This one I decided I wanted them all touching the ground, pretty much. And here's the finished article. I quite like it. There's a few little bits I want to still clean up on this model before I paint it. There's a few mould lines that weren't important in the gluing process, but overall I'm happy with it. So here's our army so far, and let's get that Carnifex in. And I also made him two little friends at the same time, so we've got a nice squad of 3, which I think is probably one of the ways that you should play Carnifex. And also while I was at it, I made another Trigon Prime. There we go. Well, there we are. That's been the Let's Build of a Tyranid Carnifex. We're going to get together and paint some of these models very soon, I think, because we're going to be able to have some battles. But that's all from me for now. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. If you have, remember to give it a like. Any questions or feedback, remember to pop them in the comments. And until I see you next time, thank you for watching, and goodbye.